every ideology has its good points and its bad points, right? The red pill is no exception. It has a bunch of its good philosophies and has a bunch of its bad philosophies, right? And it also has a lot of contradictions, okay? Right? Because they are missing the major point. The major point has to do with sacrifice. Every other thing you're talking about doesn't really matter if it's not fair sacrifice, right? Fair sacrifice on both sides. Okay, how much is the man sacrificing? How much is the woman sacrificing? So all those other ideologies don't really work if the sacrifices are not balanced and fair. The red pill ideology mostly says that men want different things and women want different things, right? Men want a woman that is going to be good for mating, so to speak, right? And giving him peace and quiet and make sure the house is good. While women want men that are at the top, that are, good providers, good breadwinners, authoritative, assertive, hardworking, and the rest, right? Now, if on the surface that sounds crude, but it sounds somewhat reasonable until you realize the disparity in sacrifices. Okay, for a guy, he has to sacrifice a lot more because to be a provider, you have to literally work in industries to provide. To be a protector, you have to literally be willing to give your life for the other person you're protecting, right? So now, compare that to just having sex with somebody and reproduction is not a very reasonable, fair deal, right? Because the other person is basically just having sex. And reproducing kids is something that they also want. It's not something that is exclusively wanted by men. In fact, women want children more than men. That's why there's a lot of fertility treatments for women, because women really want kids. Okay, men want kids, but men are not under any biological pressure to have kids. So in theory, men can wait 70 years, 80 years before they have kids. So when you look at the trades, right, there is nothing significant that the red pill men, under the red pill philosophy, that men are expecting. But there's a lot of things that women are still expecting. So basically, the red pill is just a repackaging of the conservative male plantation, right? Conservatives also have a lot of good points and a lot of good ideologies about the male and female dynamic. But when it comes to sacrifice, there is still a massive disparity. And you cannot value people the same if both parties sacrifice differently. It's not the way it is. Okay, if I am expected to do more than you, you are automatically going to think that I'm less valued than you because I have to do more just to get one simple thing that you do, right? If I have to be willing to sacrifice myself to kill myself, right, or to put myself in a situation where I could potentially die, and all you have to do is to give me pussy, then that shows you that I am the most low-value individual that could ever exist. That is the main problem that the rep is not tackling. So they are saying all these other things, and it sounds good on paper, but they're not tackling it. And it's funny because the dilemma is this: they talk about, how terrible the situation is for men, which is true, right? And yeah, Mara Gaines breaks it down clearly.
The family courts are designed right now to absolutely destroy men for divorce. It actually incentivizes women initiate 80% of divorces in the United States, in the West in general. And 90% of alimony is paid from men to women, and they lose child custody 90% of the times. So, in other words, women are incentivized to break marriage contracts all the time. We tell guys on this podcast, don't get into a contract with someone that's incentivized to break it at their benefit.
But on the other hand, he comes in to say this.
This is probably going to trigger some people, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is the thing. Obviously, you're a tad jaded because of your past experiences, which is understandable. This is why we advise guys on this podcast, if you're going to get married, you need to marry younger women and get in relationships with younger women.
For what? So you can manipulate?
What does that have
train?
to do with anything? What does age have to do with?
No, because the thing is that men look at women a lot of the times as an asset. And there's not many assets out there that gain value over time with more usage. And I know it sounds horrible to say it that way, but if we're going to boil men and women down to their bare value, men provide security, women provide sex, right? So men want to buy a car that has less mileage. There's a reason why a woman is supposed to walk down an aisle for marriage in a white dress. It shows purity. There's a reason why virgin women have been sought after for a millennia. It's because men are very interested in knowing that the kid is theirs. So am I saying that a woman that's 30 plus years old can't be a good wife? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if you want to increase your probabilities of a fruitful marriage, you need to marry younger. You need to marry a woman that doesn't have predisposed concepts and beliefs that might not be
baggage
productive to the relationship. And younger women tend to not have that. And then it's not manipulate, it's coach and lead a younger woman, because men need to be in the leader authority position in a relationship for it to work. Women are fundamentally incapable of leading men in a relationship.
Well, yeah. So statistically speaking, women that have had more experience have more baggage. But what they fail to understand is just because a woman is young doesn't mean she doesn't have baggage. You have to understand that the women of today have already been pre-indoctrinated. So you coming in to think that you can have a pliable, woman that's going to follow your lead because she's young is kind of retarded, to be honest. Because you think that these women, because they're young, they're going to follow your lead. When these women are listening to Cardi B, and they listen to Megan Thee Stallion, and they listen to other bitter women telling them about a quote-unquote bad relationship with men, right? And you think these are the women that are going to be following your lead. You kind of delusional state to think that that's the case. Because I remember even back in my day, growing up in high school, growing up with these women, right? These girls, as they were at the time, right? They had a level of entitlement that was mind-blowing. Even in my day, right? And it was crazy mind-blowing because I'm a 1990s kid, right? So I grew up in the 2000s and stuff. These women were not much better, okay? They were not following men's leads unless the men just had a cadence about him. He had a, I don't really care about your opinion type situation, and it had certain masculine traits. And most importantly, it demanded sacrifices from her before even rewarded her with his own sacrifices, right? So you expecting that just because she's a younger woman that increases your chances of success is not true. Yeah, so there is this Family Guy episode. I don't quite remember the episode, so if you remember it, just let me know. There was this man and this older woman on a date. I think she was in her late 30s or maybe early 40s, I don't remember. But she was kind of desperate, right? And she was like, I heard that you were in prison. I heard that you were locked up. I'm sure they falsely accused you of stuff. I was like, no, I did it. I did bad things. She was like, but I'm sure you're a changed man. I was like, no. I just like to do bad things. It's like, okay, well, that's still okay because I and my 3 eggs are really desperate right now. Oh my god, that's fucked up. Yeah, but that just shows you, it's a messed up comedy, but it kind of shows you the truth of the world. Okay, when you're dealing with an older woman that has no kids, you have a little bit more leverage. And you can start demanding some things, especially if you know how to demand these things properly. That was a dark humor, but that's the truth of the world, right? Women that are in their late stages, and especially women that have not had kids, right, are more likely to be compliable, are more likely to be in the situation where men can corner them to sacrifice for men before they can retaliate with sacrifices as well, right? Does that mean I'm telling you that you should always go for older women that are way away from their peak? No, I'm just telling you that, listen, if you really want somebody that is serious about relationships, an older woman that has no kids is your best option, because then you can dangle relationship in front of her the same way women dangle pussy in front of us to get us to commit. You can dangle relationship in front of us and say, listen, if you want a relationship with me, you have to sacrifice. If you want me to sacrifice for you, you have to sacrifice. I'm not taking you on fancy dates, right? This is the ruthless truth, but it's true. But I'm not taking you on fancy dates. I'm not taking you on these kinds of things, right? Until you have proven yourself that you are prepared to go all the way with me, that you're prepared to sacrifice for me, that you're not thinking of deeping, in a relationship. You're not thinking of deepening when things go wrong and taking half my shit, right? Unless you can put a woman in that situation, you have no leverage. So all this idea of like you go for a younger woman, no, because you just married this woman and she take half your shit when she divorces you because she thinks she still has time. That's why when I listen to this red pill commentators, I'm like, you guys are so just like blue head liberals. You guys are also kind of stuck in the conservative plantation to think that these women, because they're younger, they're going to be on your program. That is not true at all. Women, just like other human beings, do not care about something unless they have something to lose, right? You don't have any leverage unless the woman has something to lose. If she's going to lose ever having kids, that is leverage alone, right? But you are talking about going for a young woman who everybody wants. All the men are hitting her up and stuff like that. So her ego is so massive that the planets are revolving around her, right? You think that that woman cares about your leadership? You ought to be ridiculous if you think that's the truth. And you're leading with your money. Women do not respect men that lead with their money, right? Because that they don't look at you because they're attracted to you. They look at you because they feel that they can get money from you. So if you're leading with that, you are going to put yourself in the same problem you created in the first place. Women are using you for resources, taking half your stuff and destroying you in divorce courts. That's how this is built. The fact that you're expected to sacrifice your life and your resources for a woman that's only expected to sacrifice pussy and fertility is dumb. That is not leverage. She has not sacrificed anything to be with you. And you're out here complaining that the women are just looking for you, at you for your money and taking half your stuff that you worked hard for. Of course she's taking it. Because you've told her that your hard work is valueless. You have compared your hard work with her vagina. It doesn't work that way. Right? Women should not just be giving, because women, that's literally what you're literally telling me, that you're sacrificing day and night to work hard, to develop resources, to give it up for potentially giving a woman an orgasm in bed. That's the most dumb thing I've heard. But the red pill, they push this narrative because they don't really think this thing's true. Because you're trying to force traditional values on non-traditional women. In fact, I would change that. You're trying to force traditional values on women that not only are they not traditional, but are designed and are helped by the state to actively destroy traditional men. If a woman is not cooking, cleaning the house, washing your clothes, washing the dishes, there is no reason why you are expected to provide and protect. There is no reason for that. Okay? Now, if you think this is somewhat interesting and you like what I'm doing, then subscribe. This is Poly Boy, and I will see you guys later.